So tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me where you're from and why did you want to get involved with MADD?
I'm Sydney. I'm 16. I'm from Florida. I wanted to get involved with MADD because I've always been interested in like the effects that like drinking and like smoking has on your brain. And I feel like it's more important. And I remember when I was like 8 or 9 years old, I was actually in a car accident with someone who was drunk and no one was hurt. Good. But it was very traumatizing. Like like still remember like all of that happening. It's like traumatizing for me. So I want to help others, like prevent others from like doing this to someone else.
So why is it important to you personally to take the pledge to not drink alcohol until you're 21 or to never ride with an impaired driver?
I think it's important because I wouldn't want to be the cause of someone to like lose their life from me making a like silly decision. And I wouldn't want to be a part of like ruining someone else's life by like them making a decision like that.
So, what are some things you do to set your goals and work to achieve them, whether that's career or school or anything else?
So things I do to like set my goals is I try to be really school oriented. I'm really into school. I'm really passionate about school. I'm like always on top of like everything. And so I try to like make my future easier in a way by just like being more involved with school and like trying to do my best in school.
That's awesome. So, we know that, like I said, it's important to take care of yourself, both physically and mentally. And we know that being in school, working toward your career, being involved with MADD is a lot and it's easy to get overwhelmed. So, how do you take care of yourself, both physically and mentally? And what suggestions would you give to other teenagers?
So ways I take care of myself is like anytime I'm feeling overwhelmed, I'll just like take 5 minutes to myself and just kind of like sit in silence and just kind of let my brain just shut down for a minute to like allow myself to recuperate from anything that's like keeping me overwhelmed and giving me anxiety or making me stressed. Some suggestions I have is to allow themselves to feel or to allow themselves to have like self-care. Like self-care doesn't necessarily have to be like, oh, face mask or anything. Like it could be something as simple as like drinking more water. So definitely like caring for yourself before like doing other things and like putting yourself before anything.
That's so important. And we also know that a big part of making good decisions is your community. You know, people always say that you are the product of the people around you. And so, what steps do you take to create and keep supportive relationships in your life? Your friends, your colleagues, I guess, peers. But what steps do you take to ensure that the relationships that you have are really benefiting you and benefiting your well being and supporting you?
I usually try to keep a very small circle for that reason. I like to one be able to connect with all of my friends on like a more personal level than like skimming over the surface, I guess. So I'm very cautious of who I allow in my circle and who I trust. So like that would be one way that I am cautious of my community.
And so, what do you do if you find yourself in an uncomfortable situation? You know that while we have made the choice to not drink until, well, I'm over 21, but I made the choice not to drink until I was 21, and I know that you have too. But that doesn't mean that all the people around us have. And so, what do you do when you find yourself in an uncomfortable situation?
If I'm ever in an uncomfortable situation, I'll usually just like walk away or like remove myself from it. I feel like it's a lot more important to me to have my sanity and to not stress myself out over things that I can control than to deal with it and allow myself to like stress and be uncomfortable over something that I could prevent.
Absolutely. It's important to have a plan when you're in a situation where there could be alcohol or other drugs. Just because you aren't partaking in it doesn't mean that people around you aren't. And so, what advice would you give to your friends if they found themselves in a situation where it's being consumed around them and they don't want to because they've taken a pledge? What advice would you give to them to get out of that situation?
I would tell them like if they're driving to just leave or if they're not driving to call someone to come get them. I'm always saying like I literally will come get you. Like no matter where I am, I will come get you. because once again, I would rather my friends feel safe than to feel sorry.
Absolutely. And I love that. So a lot of times I think, and I heard this, I'm your age, things are a lot more fun if you just drink. And so, I think I've always been an example, and you have too, that we can have fun, we can enjoy high school and don't have to have alcohol. So what has been one of your most fun experiences recently that didn't include alcohol or drugs and you had a blast?
I had a birthday party and we went ziplining and we ziplined over a lake. And that was really fun. It also like promoted teamwork because we all had to like help each other like clip our like hooks on the zip line and off of the zip line.
That's awesome. I ziplined once and I was terrified because I thought I was gonna fall off. So I would not think that was fun, but it sounds like you had a lot of fun, which is great. So last question, unless you have anything to add, why do you think it's important to make a pledge rather than just telling yourself you don't want to drink until you're 21? Why do you think it's important to make this pledge to not drink or consume other drugs until 21 and put that out there that you are making this commitment? Why do you think that's important?
I think it's important because it's more of a physical way of holding yourself accountable to that instead of just like in your head. It's easy to just like an example of that would be like saying like, oh, when I get home, I'll study, and then you just don't study. But if you were to like write something down saying like, I need to study this, you're going to hold yourself accountable more than you would if you were just to like put it in your head and like brush it away.
I think that's awesome. And it is a form of accountability with other people. And I also think that your influence, when your friends see you taking this pledge, they may question you about it or wonder if it's something they could do too. And so I think it's an incredible way to use your influence and to hold yourself accountable.